I swear, I'm always doing it. I don't mean to, but I do. I do accidentally forget to select the show I had waiting, and then I go live on a completely new show for 10 seconds before I realize what's happening. And here we are. Hello, it's a Sunday. You're getting me and my civvies because it's Sunday. Who gives a shit? And also tomorrow is supposed to be incredibly windy with like 3 inches of rain down here. So I might not have power or internet tomorrow. So I may as well get a Sunday show out of the way. And also I didn't do a show on Friday and I promised to do one on Sunday with the hope that Michael Burry would post whatever it is he was going to post about GameStop tonight. But then he told everyone that he couldn't do it because it was too much information. He's getting around to it. So here we are. Sitting, waiting, contemplating. And I don't know if I have news off the bat. Phillip Rivers became the first person to throw a touchdown as a grandpa. Seahawks won the game on 6 field goals by their kicker. And Rob Reiner and his wife were apparently stabbed to death tonight. Possibly by their son, which is just a bad way to go. We had a mass shooting in Bondi Beach in Australia. We had a mass shooting at Brown University. Just, I don't know. Life's coming at you. So you know what? I can forgive you for whatever it is that you've done at this point. So, Dead Guy Monitor is crapping out again. Come on, Dead Guy Monitor. Let's not do that, shall we? Right, kitty? So I guess we're just going to go with what's on your minds on a Sunday night, right? Here we are. Getting ready for the week. It's going to be another just nightmare weather for the Seattle area for the next couple of days. More flooding, another 10, 15 inches of rain up in the mountains. This is going to finally turn to snow later in the week, so we'll get our snowpack back. So that'll be nice. But man, it's been wet. Wet. Kitty, leave me alone. Leave me alone. Okay, I gotta turn the thing off. Bam. Nope. Bam. There it is. Okay, what's in your minds, weekend people? There's only be a few of you showing up here. It's later on a Sunday, and you guys aren't expecting it. And I don't know how long we'll do the show. We'll just kind of play it by ear. Oh, another thing. I have a new job. It's kind of part-time on my own, but it might mean a couple of days a week I won't be able to do a show. But it pays very well. So, and I'm under NDA, so I can't really talk about it. But, yeah, so there might be like some Fridays where I can't do a show because I'm doing the other job. And just so you guys know, that might be coming here in the future. So, yeah, it's like this Friday, I don't think I'll be able to do a show. But next week will be holiday week, so I could probably do one. But anyway, I'll keep you in the know as it goes on. Brendan Wells says sup. Brendan Wells says sup. Any Jake's DD make any sense? Also, a lot of fighting going on in the BBYX community. There's always fighting going on in all the communities for a couple reasons. One, you have the shills whose job it is to get everybody fighting with each other, right? Two, you have the grifters whose entire job it is to try and pull as much money out of you as they possibly can while they can. So they're going to come up with weird schemes and stuff. And they'll get you to jump into one of their little stocks and it'll explode and then die and then they'll disappear forever. And then 3, people are frustrated as hell because nothing's happening the way it should and they aren't making any money and everyone's struggling. So they want to find people to blame. They want their money and they're pissed off. And so they're going to get each other's throats. Just like if you get, bored, hungry cats stuck in a room with each other, they're going to be pissed off and fight each other. That's just the way it is. Right, buddy? You've been there. Actually, I don't know if you've ever truly been hungry a day in your life. But anyway, that's just kind of how it rolls. So, yeah, there's always lots of fighting going on. And people are they're tired, man. They've been tired for years now. And shit's getting old. So, yeah. The Jake DD is nothing new. Nothing new in the Jake 2B DD. Nothing new under the sun at this point. All the arguments laid out there. You know, we threw our money in it 2+ years ago, and nothing we can do about that now. So we just sit, wait, and hope it turns up aces, right? Danny Campbell says, hey. Hot Pocket Rebel, happy birthday, Houston. I deleted my X account. What BBY drama have I missed? And are we getting paid? Any examples of shareholders in similar situations making shares or money reappear? Yes. The one I've talked about most was the Washington Mutual bankruptcy. So Washington Mutual got seized by the FDIC in the fall of 2008. The next day they were auctioned off. Well, they weren't really auctioned off because there were no bidders. Basically, they were just given to Chase, and the shareholders were left holding the bag. And I traded those shares as penny stock for like 2 years, because it go from like 1 cent to 2 cent to 1 cent to 2 cent to 1 cent to 2 cent. And then one day I went to 50 cents and I went, sell, boom. And I went to Europe for 2 months. Well, 2 years after that, the Washington Mutual, you bastard. Washington Mutual became or a WAMU Q became a SPAC for another company, and they did a reverse merger, and suddenly the shares are worth $74 a share in that reverse merger. So it's happened. There are cases of it happening, and it was all for the Knowles. They wanted to become a reverse merger so they could get the Knowles of Washington Mutual and write off billions of dollars in taxes in the future. So it's happened. And there's no reason why it shouldn't happen with Bed Bath & Beyond. The crazy thing is that why is it taking so long? If you got all this crap out of the way and you're good to go, what's the holdup? Why are you waiting? So, yeah. Just sit down, cat, out of my way. Hot Pocket Rebel, I would like to be paid in time to make it down to Oriole spring training. I would love to go to spring training one of these days. I think that'd be a lot of fun. I've never been. The times I've been in the desert in the spring is after the start of the baseball season. So never got the chance to do spring training. You'd be a good spring training dog, wouldn't you? Go sit in the outfield in Peoria, right? Yeah. Maybe get a home run or two. Yeah. Might be fun. Run around the grass. She agrees. GDC Super Chats. Treat for Monkey. Shout out Chupa Batman. What's your new food to try on New Year's Eve? I don't know yet. I have not decided on new food. I know that he decided on new food because I haven't done it yet. Suggestions of food that you folks may have munched on as children that were pretty common that I may not be aware of or my mom never bought me. Reminder, year number 1 was a Hot Pocket. And I've never had a Hot Pocket in my life. Come over, cat. Everyone wants to see you try and chew on this thing. Come on. Right here. So I never had a Hot Pocket until that point. Mama never bought them for me. And it was horrible. I got the pepperoni and sausage Hot Pocket. It was absolute gastrointestinal stress. Tasted terrible. Burned on the way down. Burned on the way out. 0 out of 5 stars. Would not recommend. Year number 2, I did White Castle burgers. I never had White Castle burgers before. These are the little frozen ones you get at the grocery store. They're passable. Year number 3, I did Pizza Bagel, which was phenomenal. I highly recommend a Pizza Bagel. That was dumb. That was bomb. Like, fuck a Hot Pocket. Get a Pizza Bagel any day of the week. And last year, I did the Red Lobster Cheddar Bay Biscuits. I don't think I'd ever been to a Red Lobster in my life. I've been to Sizzler. I don't think by the time we had like Red Lobsters near me, I was like, chain restaurants. So I did Cheddar Bay Biscuits. I've made better garlic butter sauce. Hey, you got a piece off of there. Good for you. Look at that. You got a piece. All right, there you go. Good job. Good job, little man. You did it. So yeah. My phone's blowing up. Why is my phone blowing up? Iggy says you're getting Little Debbie's iconic tree cakes. They should be there next week. I guess I'm getting Little Debbie's iconic tree cakes, which I've never had. I had the Little Debbie's version of I guess it was was it Rolos or whatever, the like ho-hos, whatever they are. The round ones with chocolate on them. So, had those. Try the end of Tuesday. Okay. Noted. All right. End of Tuesday. They should be arriving. So maybe that's what we're having. We're having some sweets on New Year's, Monkey. Does that sound exciting? Yeah? She's like looking back up at the treats as if there's more mana from heaven coming. They need to call for it, Monkey. Usually with super chat if you want it to happen. So you have to put those brown doughy eyes into that camera or into that camera and just beg. That's why I should put the treats. I should put a shelf just above the camera so she just looks into the camera at the treats the entire time. Oh. Okay. And GDC says fourth. User IT7KG 3 p.m. 4Q. A show on a Sunday night? What did we do to deserve such a pleasant surprise? Me not doing a show on a Friday night, like I promised. And so now we're doing Sunday night one. And here we are. And GDC Squad is predicting we get paid 11:55 p.m. on December 31st so that RC can screw us with taxes. Wouldn't that just be the way? Congratulations, you're all cajillionaires and you have no ability to donate shit. Haha. All right. Yogi 2012. I recently had to RTO. Can't wait to get paid so I can stop driving to work. FDT. Return to office, buddy. Sucks, don't it? That's as I say from my home office, where I do most of my work. But you don't mind. You work from home all the time, right? Yeah. So do you. Except you do most of your work and actually on the streets. All the shopkeepers give you treats. So, Merry Christmas. Havoc Rebel. I sold my weed stocks last week right before they skyrocketed to buy GameStop weeklies before earnings and lost miserably. Stock I sold went to the moon. I am the worst trader on this planet. Pretty much this is the way it is for everybody. That's what happens, man. You think, oh, this hasn't done shit in a while. I'll get rid of it. And then all of a sudden, Donald Trump's like, legalize weed. A week after they said they weren't going to legalize it, which caused the stock prices to crash. Man. GDC says, treat again from Monkey. Shout out GDC Squad. Well, you know what? We have technology. See that, Monkey? On a Sunday night, they're thinking of you. Even though you had like 500 treats today because we went downtown and you got to visit everyone. Yeah, these ones are dog only. It's just a hunk of meat. I totally give it to you. But milk bones, not quite kitty approved. Yeah. And Andrew Stewart says, no dog treats or cat drugs, just spam. All right, it's $2. Yes. Two. Dude, don't walk on my paper as I'm writing. Yes. Okay. All right. You're a monster. All right. Is your little head in the camera? Oh, there it is. There it is. Oh, you're off to the side. You're off to the side for the camera. Gotta push you that way. There we go. Yes, get that kitty head in there. Okay. Squamps. Hey, Squamps. Yay. I haven't seen Squamps in here in forever. He jumped in just as the show ended last time. But hey, welcome, Squamps. And Andrew Stewart, Houston, Rob Reiner murdered. Yep, he and his wife found dead in their home from stabbing wounds. Rumor is it was their son who had a really, really bad drug addiction. But there's been no actual suspect name. That's what the press is like. Rumor is it was the son. So I'm not sure what happened. Pretty gnarly. Spinal Tap 2 just came out, or is coming out. I haven't seen it yet. I'd love to, because Spinal Tap is brilliant. So yeah, really sad. It's a bummer. Squamps. If we could slow down radioactive decay or control it in any way, what cool stuff could we make? Well, if we slowed it, then it would probably because it's no longer radioactive. It's no longer an isotope. So I don't know if we could make anything, because like the decay itself is where you get your new elements from. Like it starts off as lead, and then it goes down to like argon, right? Or starts off as potassium, and it drops down to something else. So, it goes from uranium to lead, and it will pass through several different stages of isotope on its way down. And sometimes entire new like atoms split apart, so you have like two things that are pretty equal weight that was once something much heavier. And that's where like that's alchemy. That's what that's what all those little ancient wizards and alchemists were trying to do for a long time for various kings and queens, was they were trying to like turn something like lead into gold. So like, this thing is really heavy. It's really similar. They're both kind of soft. I bet I can do something magic to it and turn it into lead, into gold. And it turns out you can do it. You just have to make the lead radioactive. And the lead, over the course of, thousands or millions of years, would actually turn into gold at some point. They just didn't realize that it was going to take so long. So I think when it would come to reactive decay, you'd want to speed up certain decays, right? But then you get to like the really, really heavy elements, the stuff like californium and beyond, like at the bottom of the periodic scale, where they haven't been able to find a stable isotope for a long time. They've been making them like neutron guns and proton guns and bombarding atoms, and they get these heavier and heavier elements, but they last for like picoseconds. There is a thought that there is an element, a few stages above the heaviest man-made ones we've created that will become stable, but we haven't gotten there yet. So I guess you'd want to, if you could, slow down some of those crazy heavy ones to see kind of what their properties would be. But I don't know what the properties would be until we do it. So, yeah. Dating one that says, good job on not losing to Old Man Rivers. Destroy the LA Shams on Thursday. Yeah, Thursday Night Football against the Rams that beat us last time. So let's see if the Seahawks hold together. I am having the greatest fantasy football game of my short fantasy football career, and I'm still being murdered. I'm in the semifinals with a terrible record. 6-7 is my record going into the semifinals here against the number one team, too legit to quit. And they are murdering me. I'm seriously posting the best scores I've ever had in fantasy football, and I'm still losing by like 15 points. It's brutal. So I just got to hope that for some reason Miami decides to run the ball every single play, and then perhaps I'll eke one by. I don't know. What do you think, Monkey? Think it'll happen? No, I'm losing. I'm going to be playing for third place, aren't I? Jason Blackwell, Houston. My new vegetable band is called Lettuce Turnip the Beat. That's actually not bad. That'd be a pretty good techno band, actually. Latuche. User IT7KG3PM4Q. Yeah, can't forget that one. I have no idea what that's a response to. Can't forget it. Yep, not at all. Scott Pollen calls on double intro. Robert Pierpoint. It's strange. Someone I went to high school with just murdered his father and his stepmom. Oh, crap. Did you go to school with Rob Reiner's kid? That's wild. Yeah. When we were having our 20th high school reunion in 2019, our class secretary girl was like, hey, some people I can't contact. You guys want to help contact? It's on like a Facebook page we have for our class. Can you help contact? I was like, sure. So I look at the list, and the first list was this dude, Errol Sawyer. And Errol had come in my junior of high school, and I'd always try to like become friends with the new kid because, it sucks being a new kid. You're like, oh, I don't know anybody. So I'd like, sit with him at lunch and be like, hey, man, I'm Houston. Hang out. And after about 5 days with Errol, I was like, fuck this guy. This guy's weird. I can't do it. But my freshman year, I hung out with my friend Brian. And Brian became one of my best friends in the entire world. Absolute wonderful person. And he was like super stoked that somebody like came and sat next to him at lunch. And he was like, what? Why? But Errol was a weirdo. He was just kind of dumb. And I just was like, this isn't going to work. You can do your thing. I'll do my thing, whatever. But he was one of the people they couldn't contact for a high school reunion. So, Google search, like Errol Sawyer. And the first thing that pops up is that Errol Sawyer is doing 2 life sentences for 2 different murders. One, he murdered his meth dealer because his meth dealer apparently was dealing methamphetamines to children. And Errol was an upstanding meth head and did not like that. So, killed his meth dealer, went to prison on 1 life sentence. While in prison, he apparently murdered another cellmate or another guy that was in prison with him, and it was all premeditated, so he got a 2nd life sentence. And so I had to inform the class that Errol wouldn't be making our reunion, and they were like, who? And then all of a sudden, for a guy that no one remembered at all, he was like the most popular guy at our reunion. Like, did you hear about that double murder? Yeah. Teddy Wanda says crazy about Rob Reiner's son is the one who murked. Yeah. I mean, that's the rumor. Has he been arrested or charged, or they announced? Because I didn't see anything right before it came live. If that was what, but like 2 hours ago is when I first saw them pop up that the firefighters and EMTs at the house had found two dead people, age 78 and 68, which happened to be the ages of Rob Reiner and his wife. But yeah. Some people's children, man. Aaron Salentine Houston, I hope you. Oops, shoot. Aaron Salentine just disappeared. Sorry, chat just reset. I gotta find you again. There you go. Houston, hope you bought your bag of SGBX stock already because during the weekend, SGBX is showing glitches on Robinhood of a high of $195. The short interest is going this week is 900. Well, shit. I do not have my SGBX. I've not even really done much, but let's do SGBX and have a look-see. Safe and Green Holdings Corporation. Chrome. Bam. Bam. There we go. So $3.51 after hours, 3 something. Market cap's only 19 million, so it's a really tiny little company. It's on NASDAQ though. What we got for 5 days? We had around $4. It had a spike at $6 back at the end of November. Last 6 months we had highs of 60 way back when in June. Year to date we had highs of 80 before it dropped. And what about all time? All time, well, it looks like it's done lots of reverse splits in the past because we had highs of 75,000. So it must have done a shitload of reverse splits at some point. Yeah, it just must have done reverse splits in 2021 and it's on its way down. Has it done reverse splits recently? I don't know. What's short interest? Intel's got to make sure I'm not a robot. Yes, I'm human. Thank you. So reported short interest is 9%. 0.65 days to cover. Okay. What is SGBX cost to I can't spell borrow. What do you got here? The cost to borrow 842%? No, that's not right. Cost to borrow last 7 days. So cost to borrow was insane. Now it's only 200 and something percent. 222% right now. That's still really high for being 9% short, as claimed by Fintel. Interesting. And SGBX market cap's probably too small for an options chain. I think I checked this the other day, and they didn't have one. Nope, no options chain. That's a bummer. So anyway, go away. Coming back up here, fat boy. Come on. But I don't have any at the moment. I don't have much of anything trading at the moment. I did buy some of those flowers.com options because they were cheap and figured what the hell, and nothing's happened. So here we are. Are you a little stinker? Yes, you are. Andrew Stewart, Super Chats. Have you ever heard the story of Chris and Jim Crum at Casp College? It's wacky. He was my Java and C++ teacher. I have not heard the story of Chris and Jim Crum at Casp College. Should I type that in here? Whoop. Chris and Jim Krumm. Casper College murders. Oh shit. Oh, Casper College. Christopher Crum, son of Casper College faculty member James Crum, shot his father to death using a compound bow. Oh, I think I remember this. Yeah, it was like 10 years ago. 2012. Yeah. Crum attended North College, located Casper, which in which he graduated in 2005. He studied electrical engineering, Colorado School of Mines, was taking classes in Casper College. His calculus teacher, Mike Goodrow, remembered him as being one of the smartest students she'd ever had, but his social skills were not wonderful. He was diagnosed with Asperger's, claimed to have inherited the condition from his father, allegedly had been gravely troubled by his condition, blaming it for the reason he could not hold stable jobs, and once stating that his father should be castrated to prevent him from passing the condition on to others. Sounds like he might have some schizophrenia in with his Asperger's there. 3 years before the attacks, Crum and his father had a falling out. James Crum claimed Christopher hated him, blaming him for inheriting his condition. Christopher resided in Vernon, Connecticut, and worked as an engineer. Just 6 weeks before the murders in October, he applied for a handgun license, which is required to possess and carry a handgun. For unknown reasons, Christopher did not wait for his license to come through and carried out the attack while the aforementioned paperwork was still being processed. Firearms were not used in the attack. Well, shit. About 2,000 miles from his home. Stabbed Heidi several times. Okay. Waited for college to find James. Police received phone calls after 9 a.m. Man, so he entered the college with knives and a compound bow hidden under a blanket. Walked into his father's classroom and shot him in the head with a bow at point-blank range. Despite the arrow going fully through the head, Jim rose up and attacked his son, allowing 6 of his students to escape before any harm could come to them. 3 fellow faculty members tried to intervene in the final struggle. Christopher stabbed his father multiple times with knives, ending his life. So this dude took a bow through the head and still managed to like fight his son off before succumbing to knife wound. That is crazy. Holy shit. Man. Kitty. Have you ever like murdered a mouse and had to be like Rasputin in that way? Dang, man. Dang, dude. All right. Well, that's nuts. That's absolutely nuts. But no, I remember the compound bow thing. I don't remember all the details. I don't know if I even knew all the details, but wild. Aaron Southeast still has 122 shares of SGBX. Devron says he's second, but I don't think you're second at this point, or seventh, or secondered. And Stuart Houston, have you listened to the Viagra Boys? Pretty gritty rock and roll. I have never heard of the Viagra Boys. Have you? No? Okay. No, I'll have to look them up. I still have to look up the Clock Towers. Down Sears Shadom's band. I didn't do that either. It's a lot of things I need to do that I haven't done yet. Devron now says he's first. Sapamon 7th was just about to sleep. Sorry. Season 4 Houston. When MSTR dead, Bitcoin seems to be having lower lows. January is almost here. Also, Bank of Japan yen carry over here soon. 0.25 heck is anticipated. Will this shake the market? BTC is the canary. BTC has been doing some serious dumping today again. Another Sunday dump. We're about to start a ground war in Venezuela. Russians are blowing up grain ships and cargo ships in the Black Sea now. Don't you dare. Don't you do it. I see you trying to do it, but don't you do it. Let me give you drugs. I'll give you drugs. You've been almost good. There you go. Take some of that. Enjoy, you monster. Don't bloat all over the place, man. Just hold your breath and then lick. Okay. Yeah, there's got to be a dumping in here somewhere. The Christmas season, like in town, all the shopkeepers are telling me about how miserable Christmas sales are right now. Like, people are coming in, they're just not buying anything. And they're like, this is our make or break, and we aren't selling shit right now. They bragged about how Black Friday was like the biggest Black Friday ever, made $11.2 billion or whatever. And then you look at the sales and actual items being sold, we're down like 40%. It's just inflation, basically. And like the 10% who can afford stuff being willing to spend a bunch of money on expensive things. We got crap like companies are stopping making solid state drives for the public. RAM is becoming insanely expensive. So the computing power of laptops are going to go back to like 4 and 8 gigabyte RAM chips in laptops. There's talk about places that do have data centers basically telling people to go and buy computers, like commercial computers, consumer computers, just for the RAM, because the RAM is so expensive right now. It's cheaper for them to get the RAM that way. It's insane. It's people aren't gonna be able to afford to do shit at the moment. And it's all because of AI. And AI is ruining everything. Like, I don't want my stuff on the cloud. The cloud keeps getting fucking hacked. I'd rather have it on my computer with my own goddamn hard drive. Right? I can do my own backup systems. I know how to do that. I don't need the cloud. I don't need Cortana or Bard or Grok to like tell me how to do things. Just give me an autistic guy with a YouTube video explaining how to like replace the plugs on 2001 F-150 5.4 liter. That's like all that's the shit I need. I don't need the robots, man. They're ruining everything. Did you see the entire power generation capacity of the state of Texas, a state that is not hooked up to the grid? Like they are their own enclosed grid. They're not hooked up to the East Coast or West Coast or anything. The entire capacity of them is about 83 gigawatts. That's as much as they can produce. They've made commitments to AI data centers of 235 gigawatts a year of electricity. So basically 4 times what they currently produce. They've made promises to these AI and data center companies that they will provide them with that electricity. The electricity does not exist. Like, this is a dead concept. The money isn't there. The money's fake. They're going to build these things on leverage and loans, and they have no way to power them all. And your electric bill is going to go through the roof. And then they're all going to go bankrupt. And there'll just be these dead wastes of spaces. Then you used up all your water, and it's just going to be gone. It's like, skirt, times 2, or skirt. Imagine owning a jewelry store, slow foot traffic paired with gold price, brutal. Yeah. And the fact that nobody gets married anymore because marriage is too expensive and having kids is too expensive and they can't afford to date and they don't have their own apartment. They live with roommates or with their parents. And so nobody's getting married, which means nobody's buying diamonds, which means the diamond market's completely collapsed and gemstone market in general is completely collapsed. And yeah, it's all your fault, billionaires. You've consolidated so much money. You have so much money, you don't know what to do with it all. So the price of all these commodities are going through the roof. The price of all these securities are going through the roof. And you're buying up, ice rinks so that you can charge parents $50 for the right to film their kids at their hockey game. And you're buying up your HVAC companies. And you're buying up veterinary clinics. And you're buying up, food chains. And you're buying up mom and pop everything. And you're just ruining our lives. So, just off with their heads, I guess. For the production surprise show, awesome. Aaron 17% Houston, or 900% Houston. Finishing your last thought there. Yogi says, "Congrats on the new job." We'll see. I think it's an executive sales position, and I'm not a sales bro. But they needed somebody with a science background to sell the things that they're selling. They sell certain chemicals and reagents to laboratories and medical clinics and whatnot. I am not a molecular biology guy. I'm not a cellular biology guy. I am not an anatomy guy. But I can read and I can learn and I can pretend. But they've got a couple. It's a new company and they got a couple of sales bros in California, Texas, and Florida. And those sales bros are making real good money. Commissions are insane. So if you do make a sale, it's like, well, I don't have to work for a year type thing. So we'll give it a whirl. We'll see if it works. I mean, I got some days I can devote to that. So see where it goes. Turkish, time to feed monkey butt some tasty treats. HW, where's my BBY money? I don't know where BBY money is, but we can do one more of these. That sound awesome, monkey? Yes. You want a pig's ear? Boom. Take it. Yeah. That's like Monkey's 55th treat today. I don't think she's even had her breakfast because she's like, Sunday, she's like, we're going to town. We're getting treats from all my friends. And so she doesn't even look at her breakfast. Basically, on the days I don't do my other job, she sees me like put on a pair of Carhartts. And she's like, we're going to town. Carhartt's Town snacks from all the shops. And Stewart, your sea chickens are on fire this year. They're doing it in wild ways, man. Like the day, like Myers was offensive player of the month or something for November, and then today 6 field goals with what 3 at 50 or more. Insane. Way to go. Andrew Stewart says dog treats, cat drugs. Did that already. Andrew Salatine says I bought 65 ounces of silver and 2 1/20th of an ounce of the gold Canadian coins and 2 1/10th gold of an ounce Canadian coins back in 2020. I'm up 130% on both. Wish I bought silver over GME back then. Yeah, I mean, I have a absolute shitload of busted electronics and scrap gold that I need to do something about, and I just haven't. And the garage is like too cluttered. I need like a just like 1,000 square foot shed, like just like put in the yard and have powered like electricity, so that I can just do gold things and get that out of the way. But it's like you gotta like take a whole week to do the gold. You gotta get it in nitric acid. You take that chunk and then you put it into your hydrochloric acid or your aqua regia, and then you get that, and then you gotta put in your reagent and get it to in the distillate, and then you gotta melt it, and so it's just days and days and days and days and days, and then like half the time you're producing really toxic gases that you don't want to breathe in because you'll die, and then you have to worry about like roommates complaining like my room's really can't breathe. So I haven't done it in a long time, monkey, a long time. And what I have been devoting myself to is trying to find a truck. I've been hitting the auctions. This is the good time of year to try and find a truck at auction because people are doing holiday stuff, or they spent all their money on their kids, or whatever. And the weather's terrible, so no one wants to show up at auctions. And I hit 2 auctions this week, and both times on the trucks I was targeting. First time I got outbid by $1,000. I was like, fuck. And the second time I got outbid by $200. $200 more than I had to spend, and the dude won it from me. And I need a new war rig. I've got several film friends who want to go film rocks out in the mountains. I need a way to get there to do it, and my little BMW convertible is not going to do that. So, all right. Elevated Life. We traded feuds, brah. Aaron Soundteam. Then and bought more psychic silver. Damn you, Ryan Cohen. Oh, talking about back then. Okay, still collecting your thoughts. The problem is when you have a thought and then it finishes like 3 lines later. Kyle Garibaldi. On a Sunday, Houston, happy birthday. But has the world turned on its head? I've done Sunday shows in the past. I do like 1 or 2 of them a year. We just kind of do what we do. Dragon Targaryen. Anyone has any good dates of Cope for GME? I'm feeling so down right now. Well, the options chain for January is pretty nuts. So I think we'll get another push in January. I don't think it's going to be like $35 or somewhere in there, but I think we'll get another swing. Might be able to make a couple of grand with the options in January. So look at that. Andrew Stewart, Houston, how about pickled pig's feet for New Year's? I've had pickled pig's feet, so that wouldn't count. So I've done that before. I've done pickled pig's feet, done pickled eggs. I've done Rocky Mountain oysters. So yeah, I've not had the Little Debbie's tree cakes, as GDC is putting out here. He says they're solid, so that's good. That's good to know. Clapped out 88, a Q4 earnings or January OPEX, but I have a feeling they crushed January OPEX. That might happen as well. Teddy says, "Oh hi and happy birthday! Treats? I have to do more treats. You got so many treats, monkey. I guess I can give you another piece of chicken. All right, give me another piece of chicken. Do one more, because why not? It's Sunday, right? Want one of those? I'll just make you sick. I'm actually sick because I had way too many gummy bears a little bit ago, and there's a limit. There's a limit to a number of gummy bears your tummy can take, and I have hit that limit, and I'm currently struggling on the inside at the moment, so maybe water will work. Teddy B. Do you think any actual news from Burry would do anything to change establishment minds or bill him as full crazy now? Well, Burry had over 3 million shares back in 2019 when he was making demands of the board to do some share buybacks, which ended up doing. The stock price rose a little bit. If he still has those 3 million shares, then he has probably 12 to 13 million shares right now, which gives him a pretty significant portion. It would make him probably the third largest owner of GameStop, which he has not revealed yet because it's still less than 10%. So if he reveals that he has that and more, that might be enough to cause some FOMO to happen, because he's still, while being a weirdo racist guy, he's still, what he says, people still listen. So, yeah. Teddy B, congrats on the new job. Can you say what industry it is? It is medical juice. Solutions and reagents and hormones and chemicals and peptides and stuff like that. So that's what it is. It's basically a wholesaler for those things. And I can only sell them to licensed physicians. So I will basically be walking into offices and be like, hey, do you use chemicals? Yes, you do. Would you like to buy ours? They're 15% cheaper. And you'll make me a shitload of money in the process. So that's what I get to do. Zen Focus, Houston. Heart. GMETA and Fib time zones looking spicy this week. Fib time zones? I don't know what that means, Zen Focus, but I heart you nonetheless. Daniel Campbell, new food you could try, haluski, a Slovak dish. I'll try some haluski. What's a haluski? I don't think it's really something common people had as children, though, in the U.S., but I'd totally try it. Crap. Legacy and Productions. You were just here. You go. Legacy and Productions. What are your thoughts on the Freedom of Information Act stuff on MMTLP? Do you see any resolution in the next couple of years? I think McCabe will try something, but had they still controlled the 140,000 acres of the university lands in East Texas or West Texas, they would have more gravitas in everything they're doing. But right now, they've got these really, really tiny wildcat patches in like Louisiana that haven't amounted to shit so far. And I don't think that bodes well for them in the long term. The fact that they lost 3.5 billion barrels of oil and a shitload of natural gas because the state of Texas arbitrarily was like, we're taking your lease. They should have fought that a lot more and just been absolute pit bulls about it. And the fact that it seems like they haven't, to me, kind of dooms whatever they're trying to do in the long run. So yeah, it would have been wiser and smarter for McCabe and company in 2021, 2022 to just sell. Oil prices were insane. You probably could have gone to Occidental Petroleum or Chevron Texaco and been like, hey, we got 3.5 billion barrels of oil. We've got 6 trillion cubic meters of natural gas, or whatever it was. Give us a few $1 billion for it. And then done, out. Send everyone who had MMTLP, their $100 a share, and you're done. But now they lost the lease, and I don't know. I don't know what's going to come of it all. And I kind of just stopped paying attention to it, really, because once they lost the lease, I was like, man, fuck, shorts won again. That's basically how my brain has thought about it. So I don't know if anything's going to come of it. I still have my 1,000 shares sitting in AST, and yeah. Dave Brooks, looks like Joe Scott doing a geology video. Houston needs to do one too. I know you were waiting for MOAS, but I'd love to see it from your point of view. I would rather do geology videos than anything else, personally. So that was my dream. That was the goal. You'd rather do that, wouldn't you? You hate the truck rides, but you love being out in the wild. Yeah. It's a pretty exciting day. We were visiting with my mother, and there was a bunny in her patio, and Monkey was freaking out and beside herself. I was trying to get a picture of Monkey and the bunny, but just nothing but a blur of Monkey running back and forth across the window. Andrew Stewart, Houston Chiefs are cooked. Mahomes blew an ACL. They blew an ACL, and they're out of the playoffs. They're in the Super Bowl last year, and not even making the playoffs this year. So yeah, and his ACL means he won't even be back probably till at least mid-season, if not gone all of next year. So, oof. Sis74, Houston, how do you mine helium-3? Do we even have technology that can do it? Does helium-3 create energy? Helium-3 creates energy when you smack helium-3 into helium-3 at very high speeds. So how you mine it, basically, you have to figure out like how it got there, which the moon sits in the vacuum of space, and the moon gets bombarded with sunlight, right? Daytime is 14 days long on the moon, so all this sunlight is bombarding the moon. Well, inside the sun, you have nuclear reactions, and inside those nuclear reactions result in all sorts of weird particles getting blasted out by solar radiation, and those include things like helium-3, which is an isotope of helium. Remember, helium should be 4, 2 protons, 2 neutrons. This is 2 protons and 1 neutron. It's a stable isotope. It lasts for essentially forever as this isotope. But it's pretty easy to take helium-3 and helium-3 and smash them together and create higher order elements, and you get a whole bunch of energy out of it. It doesn't take much energy to do it, and you get a lot of energy out of it. So helium-3 bombards the Earth as well. But the Earth has a big atmosphere, so helium-3 goes doink and bounces off and disappears forever. But the moon has no atmosphere. And due to the fact that it's being bombarded by solar radiation constantly, the lunar dust is actually ionized, so it's staticky. So these helium-3 bits come flying in and smack into a piece of dust on the moon and sticks like a sock out of the dryer. And it's been doing this for 4.5 billion years. So the dust that's on the moon is really, really full of this helium-3. So what you have to do is you got to scoop up that dust, right? De-ionize the dust, to shake loose the helium-3. So you probably introduce a whole bunch of electricity to the dust, give it a good shake, and the helium-3, if you introduce an atmosphere to it, the helium-3 will float out. And then you take that air that comes out of it, and you'd probably freeze it, because you'd freeze out the air, you get the water vapor out of there, get the oxygen out of there, you get the nitrogen out of there. Then what's left is basically liquid helium in the end. So you get the liquid helium out of that, and that's what you package up and send back to Earth to power everything. It would take about a fuel truck's worth of helium-3 to power the entire United States for a year. So if you're driving down the highway and you see some fuel truck go past you on a big rig, about that much would power the entire United States. In the 1960s and 70s, from our observations on the moon or tests, proved that the moon had at least 10,000 years of helium-3 if everyone on Earth was utilizing electricity at the rate of Americans. Americans are 4% of the population. We consume 25% of the electricity on Earth. We are very wasteful. But if you imagine the other 8 billion people on Earth consuming energy at the same rate as Americans, that's how much proven reserves there are of helium-3 on the moon. So it's like $500 quintillion worth of electricity at current energy prices, which is insane. So that's what we're going to try and do. We're going to try and send people to the moon, give the dust a good jiggle, get that helium-3 out of it, package it up, send it back to the Earth where it can be used to power pretty much everything. Like, at this point, you need 4 truckloads of it back to the Earth every year to basically power the entire planet at current levels. As technology gets better and cold fusion gets better, transport will be cheaper and cheaper because we'll start to use weird things like cold fusion engines. We'll take some of that helium-3, we'll take like a jar of it and like be able to fly to another planet, another solar system with that kind of energy. So it's coming, but yeah, it's gotta wait for somebody to actually do it. Attaining Oneness says that Rob Reiner's kid was taken in by SWAT. Okay, Per People Magazine. Noted. All right, well, that's a bummer. Teddy B, Houston. What percentage of portfolio is for degenerate gambling plays? What goes Roth IRA? I try to do $200 a week to my Vanguard. Even right now, my Vanguard is just sitting in cash, waiting for everything to just collapse. I still try to send a couple $100 a week to that. Sometimes it's only $100 a week, depending on what's going on. My degenerate gambling, usually only a couple $100 a month. Sometimes it builds up. I might do an options play here or whatever, and then like swings out and I double my money, triple my money. And all of a sudden, like the last time around, I took $70 and I made it to 1,495 with GameStop, and then back down to $70. So I'm just waiting. One of these days, I'm gonna take that teeny tiny amount of money. It's going to turn it into just a shitload and be done. But it hasn't happened yet. So usually a couple $100 a month I turn towards that degenerate gambling. At the moment, I do spend like $6 a week on Powerball tickets because Powerball's at 1.1 billion. So that's money's going to the Powerball because you can't win if you don't play. And to me, it's entertainment expense because I imagine like, hey, I win the $1.1 million Powerball. That's, $580 million lump sum minus whatever taxes. What are we going to do with that? What do we do? And most of my responses are, we are skiing a lot and camping a lot and sitting on beaches a lot. And, and then we're funding all of our favorite charities and making sure that all of our friends and family are retired with us. And that's what we're going to do. Right? Right, monkey? Oh, you scratchy dog. Oh, yeah. Scratch your head up. Yes. So good. It's important business. You gotta look at that face. That's a very determined, gonna finish this scratch type face right there. Oh, yes. So yeah. This is your reminder. If you, of the 129 people here visiting me on a Sunday night, if you are the winner of this $1.1 billion Powerball, no, you're not. You do not tell a single soul that you won. You tell no one, except for your lawyer. You tell no one except for your lawyer. And your lawyer shall be probably some big shit corporate lawyer at a huge firm with an excellent reputation. And you're going to go in there and you're going to say, hey, big shit lawyer from a corporate firm with an excellent reputation. I need you to form me an LLC in the Caymans or whatever tax haven you choose. That LLC is going to own my ticket. They own my ticket. I sold it to them for $1, right? They own my ticket. And now you're going to broker that ticket to private equity, to investment banks, to commercial banks, to lending institutions. You're going to broker that ticket and you're going to sell it to one of these groups. And you'll get a $5 million flat commission from it. And go. And so once they form their LLC, a week later, you're able to get like a checking account, etc. You sell that sucker. No one knows it's you. Once it sells to whoever it is you sell it to, you make them sign NDA so they can't reveal who you are, right? They're not going to pay the same taxes you would if you signed the back of it and went to the lottery commission. You're going to pay 30% tax on that, whereas they pay corporate tax. So plus they'll have a huge write-off. So if they, let's say the lump sum's $580 million or whatever, $600 million. I don't know, somewhere around there. You might sell it for say $500 million. So they get themselves a sweet like $80 million profit. So they immediately have $500 million to write off. So if they do pay corporate taxes, it's going to be like 19% on $80 million, which is a hell of an excellent return for them. Or a bank could look at it as like a giant mortgage, right? If you take out a $580 million mortgage over 30 years of payments, you're going to be paying back about $1.1 billion, right? So you can just say, like, hey, bank, give me $580 million. You take the 30 whatever million dollars a year for the next 30 years as like the mortgage payment on this, and we're done, right? So they won't be paying tax on any of it like you would. And you'd be totally anonymous. So why not? Right? Just stuff that stuff overseas. Get yourself an American Express black card that pays for everything, and you're good to go. You have no income. I am living like a god off an American Express card, Your Honor. And your cars, your homes, whatever, could be owned by an offshore company, and you're just a renter. I don't own this house. It's owned by some company. I just rent from them. How much you pay in rent? Nothing. I just, take care of the property for these guys. I'm just the caretaker. So, just remember, if you win the lottery, No, you didn't. Do not claim the ticket. Sell the ticket to somebody who's got piles of cash and disappear if need be. I don't know, make up a good story about people like, how'd you retire? Like, oh, I found a really good Pokemon card or whatever. I had a long lost uncle left me some money. I invested in pick whatever stock happens to explode that week, right? Just make that your story of why you are living the life of luxury and becoming a philanthropist and not working ever again. So I need to do a TikTok video explaining that to people. That's probably one of those things you should put on TikTok. People would watch that, wouldn't they? I don't know. It's like shit I gotta do, right, monkey? Yeah. Where were we? Did Helium 3, did Spot 1, did People Magazine, Degenerate, Teddy B, South Park latest was great, highly recommended. I've not seen the last 2 South Parks. I need to do that. Options trader Jimmy going to 1920 again. Yeah, probably. But then January, OPEX comes along, the yearlies, and it pops right back up again. Phoenix Collins, Brown University Person Interest was released. Wow, really? Interesting. Even though he had the laser scope on his gun. Aaron Saltine, silver at $65 an ounce. Every play check I'm trying to buy 1 ounce. Silver might go higher, but also might have once JP Morgan Chase gets caught up, it might have a good at the end of it. And Aaron Saltine says, I'm tired of this crappy stock market. Understandable. Teddy B, do you have any moral issues with your portfolio, like S&P funds technically owning Tesla that you support? Do you see it as you taking their profits to try and or ignore your piece of the machine? I'm not actually invested in the SPY per se. I have nothing. I back in March I sold January I sold all of my Vanguards. I just got out because it was gonna crash. I did some crashing and I thought it was gonna crash more, but I haven't jumped back in yet. So technically I don't have any of that. It's hard to have moral qualms when you're like investing in index funds because they just grab a piece of pretty much everything. And they don't care. Their job is to make money. And what are you going to do about it? Right. Like MMTLP is an oil company. Oil companies are evil and I've still invested in them. I might have like being a direct investor in Tesla is not something I'm interested in doing. But like, investing in mutual funds and index funds, it's kind of, you don't really have much of a choice. You're like, well, I need yearly annuities and dividends, and that's how you do it. So you just sort of turn your brain off when it comes to it, I guess. I don't know. Teddy Beal says, relax, guy. Skirt. How much more do you have to raise to eat the spam? I have a list here, and I still need to make my new spreadsheet. So I don't know. Probably $7,000 plus to eat the spam. I don't think this adds up to more than maybe $100, but then it's offset by the nose. So I need to add that all up. Should it be After Dark switched to GeoGuessr? When did you last one? I did GeoGuessr so long ago. I haven't played GeoGuessr in so long. I do need to do that, don't I? Yeah. And Teddy says, could the Mars thing for Elon be a sleight of hand to go to the moon or infinite money for him? Is China biggest space threat or other? China's the biggest space threat. Elon's too stupid to actually do anything on the moon. He is autistically obsessed with Mars, even though Mars is useless. So let him go to Mars. Let him go to Mars and die a really, really painful, stupid death. And things will be a lot better on Earth. So as many billionaires as who wants to go to Mars and have their like libertarian utopia, by all means, get on that death trap of a rocket and send your ass over there. There's like a 2% chance that you'll actually will lift off and not explode. But if you do happen to lift off and not explode and make your way to Mars, you will die there in a horrible and hilarious way on some live stream that we'll get to watch on the internet. So it'll be cathartic for the rest of us. You'll be like in pain and dying, and NASA will be like, oh, it's going to take us like a year to actually get to you guys if we do this, and like $1 trillion. And so you're on your own. So yeah, do it. Teddy also seems to confuse Phoenix Collins with Phil Collins. Asking what's the drummer tier list. Aaron Salentine, I bought 65 ounces of silver. Oh, I read that one already. Okay. And Phil Collins, you see the meteor shower last night? Felt like weather god smiled on us in the Pacific Northwest with clear skies yesterday before more rain this week. I did not see a meteor shower yesterday, but then again, I wasn't outside to look at it. So, there you go. Well, it's been an hour. It's a Sunday night. I may see you guys tomorrow if the power doesn't go out, but we're expecting like 45-mile-an-hour sustained winds with gusts significantly higher than that, and the ground is really saturated. So there's going to be some trees just knocking power lines down all over the place. Yeah. So, kitty, dog, everybody, I'll bid you adieu. If I don't see you tomorrow, I'll see you Tuesday. And yeah, folks, have a great night. All right. Bye.